Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Melo Meresco. We have an awesome guest today, Laura Collazo. Hopefully, I said your last name correctly. But Laura Collazo, she's a social media strategist and a UGC creator. So that's super exciting. She gives amazing tips and advice. So if you want to start your journey on that, definitely go check her out. Laura, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Andrea, for inviting me and for that lovely introduction. I'm so honored to be here chatting with you and just getting to know each other and
Yeah.
talking about UGC. I love talking about social media marketing.
Awesome. So I want to start with your story, your how you got started in UGC social media strategies. Because I know from all the research slash stalking that I did, I saw that you were doing your PhD on chemistry, I believe. So
Correct.
yeah, tell us all about that.
You did your homework. Yes, I am from Puerto Rico, born and raised de Puerto Rico, de pura cepa, as we say. And I did my bachelor's in Puerto Rico in chemistry. And
Mm,
so one of the benefits of STEM, because the reality is not every career path allows for this, but my career path allows for me to jump from bachelor's to PhD.
oh
I did not
wow.
have to go through a
The
master's degree.
masters. Yeah, I was gonna ask
Yeah,
you that. Mhm.
yeah. So that's and I know not every major allows this, but chemistry does. And so during the pandemic, that was my senior year, I
Mm,
was applying to PhD programs across the US, specifically the US, because that is where I knew I had most opportunity for growth in my career path then. And so I got accepted into a bunch of schools, ultimately decided to accept Penn State's offer. And
mm.
then me and my boyfriend, we both accepted offers at Penn State for
Oh,
the chemistry PhD program, specifically the bioinorganic group, because there's different chemistry, research
I could imagine.
groups that we
Yeah.
could join. So specifically, me and my boyfriend joined the bioinorganic chemistry group in August 2020. And
Mhm.
so everything on paper was good because I am a first gen PhD older sister, so I get things done.
Mm,
But there was always this creative outlet that was lacking in academia, in my
yeah.
everyday life, just going to the lab, teaching, which I do love teaching. I love teaching my students, but the research aspect, which was the core of
Mm,
being a PhD student, I wasn't as passionate about it. But I had Instagram and then I had TikTok. And so I did find a creative outlet through that. But I ultimately decided for myself in March 2022 that I needed a break from
mm,
research. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you have to. Like,
mm.
you should love what you do. You should
Yeah.
wake up and say, yes, I get to do XYZ thing today, and I'm so excited for that. And
Yeah.
I know it's so cliche because we always get told, like, you should love what you do in life. You should, like, do work in something that you're happy doing. And we don't take it to heart enough. At least in the Latina culture, I don't feel we take it to heart enough. I feel like we just take duty
Because
over passion.
that's also what we've been taught. Like work hard, especially as
Yep,
our first gen is like you have to go to school, go to college, and get a stable job, and then you should be
yep.
set. Because what they've been doing is like working 40 plus hours, or even like overtime. Like my dad, we used to work like 60 plus hours, and it's like crazy. And for them to just be able to go to a little another level, and that was okay for them. But like now you also have to. There's so much knowledge, but yeah, I'll let you
Yeah.
keep.
No, there's so that's it's the truth. I was talking to this with my family. There is so much opportunity now. Like,
Yeah.
you cannot blame us for not wanting exactly what was the most you could aspire to
Hmm.
in your time. Like, it is
Yeah.
not what we want, and that is okay.
Hmm.
Like, it's okay for you to change your mind. It's okay to change directions.
Yeah,
It's
pivot.
especially especially in your 20s. Like, I would say 20 to 30s is such an experimental phase of your life. Like, you're just getting to know yourself.
Yeah.
You're getting to, like, dip your toes into being an adult, into
Hmm.
reality, and so many things can make you change. And that's okay. And that's okay. So I think that's what happened. But it took me, I was diagnosed with depression, anxiety, ADHD. It took a lot for me to realize that I did not want this, and that is okay. Even though I
Hmm.
was killing it. My PI, which is my boss, let's say, she
Hmm.
was like, "Really? You need a break?" And I was like, "Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I do need a break."
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Hmm.
everything is, so that happens. And so because I decided to put myself first and take this break, it really was in June, in the summer when I started it. I had to finish my contract.
Hmm.
Um, in June, I gave myself the chance to start UGC, because the fact is I had heard about UGC since February.
Oh
That's when
wow.
that's when my For You page started trickling it into my brainwave. But I was not in the best mental state, so I
Yeah.
could not take action on it. And I still had the micro influencer mindset,
Mm.
which is not a bad mindset to have. It is just not one that leads to a profitable return on investment
Mm.
quickly as UGC does. Like for
Okay.
micro influencers, you have to build a community. That is what micro influencing is. It's
Mm.
not about PR hauls. It's not about getting free stuff. It's about building a community that trusts you so much, that is
Mm.
willing to follow your word and just back you up.
Yeah.
UGC is not about that. UGC is about marketing, branding, and
Mm.
a lot of other things. But I wasn't able to take action on everything that I was learning and absorbing on my For You page until June.
Okay.
And so in June, I built my portfolio, and that's kind of where things started. And I haven't looked back since.
That's really awesome because for many like the success that you've been having, like oh that I've been able to see, it's pretty cool. And then for you to start like June, like it didn't like for at least for me, like it would be like it's not for me, it's like not all the time because like some people take forever to like have that success that you have right now. So it's like
100%.
pretty awesome. But I want to go back to like how you said how you weren't like really you were seeing UGC content in February, but you didn't take action until June.
Yeah.
But I want to go in there because that's a lot like those like limiting beliefs or things that we tell ourselves like, oh
Yep.
yeah, I can't do it right now. So what was that process for you? Like what were you doing during that time? So that in June you were like, you know what, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna be like consistent with it and all of that.
Yeah. I took it slow, and I was okay with taking it slow because that's
Mm,
what I needed. I
yeah.
really, really took to heart, don't compare your journey to others. Like, don't compare yourself to others, because you don't know what their full story. Like, people see one side of you or whatever you choose to share on social media, which is
Yeah.
totally fine. But like I said, I was in February, I was diagnosed with depression, anxiety, ADHD. I had to take things slow and develop the systems that allowed me to then build the foundation of a social media presence,
Mm,
of personal branding, of
yeah.
marketing. And so I built routines. I'm still working on everything, because once you get in the in the in the UGC drive, things get fast really quick. And so you kind of forget that you need to prioritize your routines. But
Mm,
at the start, that's what really helped me. And that's why I'm going back to it this 2023. Prioritizing healthy routines. And I know it sounds cliche, but routines means different things to different people. That doesn't mean wake up at 6 a.m. That just
yeah.
means wake up at a time where you will feel happy and energized enough
Mm-hmm.
to get a good breakfast, maybe do some journaling, maybe
Mm-hmm.
listen to a nice podcast, call your mother, anything. Honestly, I live currently in Pennsylvania. I
Mm-hmm.
am thousands of miles away from home. So I honestly know what it's like to just kind of live in a bubble and forget
Mm,
you need to call your family
yeah.
often, or you need to call your friends. Sometimes that's all the therapy you need. Or maybe it's you need therapy. I figured out what I needed before I dove into the hustle of
Mm,
UGC and another, because this is first and foremost treated as a side hustle and then treated as a business. I
Mm,
started treating it as a business
as a
from the
business.
start.
Okay.
So before there needs to be a prep before you like
Mm,
dive into a business. And so I took months to prep because I said I need to be good mentally first before I can start giving myself on social media and to this new business, like giving my energy to
yeah.
this business. I needed to first be good myself. Like
Mm,
self-worth was the priority for me. Like
mm,
really developing my self-concept is something that I had to put first before getting into the hustle culture
yeah.
of any career really. And I think Latinas in general are inspired to are pushed by into this hustle culture just because we're in this, okay, you need to get good grades, you need to get into
Yeah.
a good school, you need to get into a good job. And even though it's obviously, yes, all these things are true, you want good grades, but the way it is like not forced, but kind of is stimulated for like
Mm,
all throughout our lives, really kind of puts this thought into our head that unless you're doing something productive, like unless you're doing something like unless you're studying, unless you're studying for an exam, like
yeah.
unless you're doing something, you're not worth, like your worth is dependent on your productivity. That's
Yeah.
something I had to fix before that mindset,
Yeah.
or I got into this whole space.
That's pretty interesting because I could definitely relate to that. And I feel like for me, I've also been in that been in that journey of like these past 2 years of like trying to be okay with not being as productive as I think I
Mm-hmm.
should be because I don't know, like the routines that you said, like I always want like this perfect routine where I wake up at 5 in the morning, I do my yoga, I meditate, I do journaling, and then do a bunch of other stuff that in realistically that's not possible because like journaling for me it will take like 1 2 hours and like that's already like my morning. So I don't know. And then going back to I had a point and I forgot, but you were saying, oh no, se me olvidó.
It's okay. No, it really the my drive throughout my entire life was kind of titled instead of
Y-
a purpose. It was just like, okay, science is profitable, creativity and being and something. Like when I was a kid, I wanted to be like a singer, a dancer, a designer, but that was just not realistic to.
mhm.
So then I liked the science fair. So I went with science. And I don't get me wrong, I love science. I wanted to be a forensic scientist and I might go back to
Ooh,
that. But my point is, I don't have to, like, if I want to take a 10-year break to pursue marketing, create a creative agency and do all this new things that I want, I
yeah,
can. And then I can go back and redo a PhD if I want to, or I can pursue science.
yeah, just
Obviously,
explore. Yeah.
yeah, it's okay to explore. It's also okay to just continue in one path as
Hmm.
long as you feel that that is what aligns with your
And it's
purpose.
intentional too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
intentional, not because it's the plan that you had since you were 10 years old and you just like have
Hmm.
repeated it in your head and you
Yeah.
haven't even thought about what it is actually going through the plan.
Yeah. And I want to go because I kind of remember like the point I was gonna
Yeah.
trying to say, but for me, I struggle with all of that. And then even like now, like with the podcast, I'm still struggling with that with the prioritizing myself because you mentioned how you have to work on your systems and all that, especially UGC, you have to go back to your routines.
Mm-hmm.
Or like your business, you have to go back to your routines. For me, like something I've been noticing is like me doing the research or doing the emails and or even like podcasts or like UGC, I forget about like my day. Like I literally just work and I forget to eat and then I forget to like meditate in the morning or when I sometimes I wake something I've always struggled with was waking up early. So even now I wake up like at 9 or 10, but
Mm-hmm.
I still try to like the main things I do in the morning is meditate and yoga, like a stretching routine. So I need to be aware of that, especially now that even though I've worked on like the things I need to not like fix it, but like become aware of what I need to work on. Like being in this process of starting a new podcast and like UGC and all of that is we really have to be aware of like prioritizing prioritizing ourselves
Yes.
and not letting that get into our head of like, oh, I have to work, I have to work, I have to work. You have to like remember to eat well. You have to remember to hydrate yourself. You have to remember to
Yes. I have
um
my water bottle here. You
yes.
you are 100% right. I unfortunately fell prey to this. The same. It's just being the older sister, being first gen. It's engraved in my brain almost to
Mm,
just like work, work, work. And because I found something that I absolutely love, it's so easy for me to
yeah.
get obsessed over it essentially, and it's not healthy, I will say, because in the freelance world, which is what you are as an entrepreneur, as a solopreneur on social media, the more you work, the more you make.
Mm,
Potentially, that is like the more hours you put in, the more you work. That doesn't always happen in other careers.
yeah.
So here it's like, oh, let's keep working. I wake up and I want to create and I want to
Mm-hmm.
negotiate, or I want to do this, I want to do that. But I quickly realized it's not sustainable, just like it happened on my PhD. It is not sustainable. And that is my word for 2023. It's longevity, which
Mm,
correlates to sustainability. Like if I want longevity, I need to develop sustainable systems. And
mm,
that is prioritizing my health, my
yeah.
routine, baby steps, of course, baby steps, because I get a little over, I'm like, okay, let's do two gym visits a day. Let's start waking up at 5. No, it has to be baby steps. Like
Yeah.
Rome was not built in a day.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I agree that when you're passionate about something, it can easily turn into something that you prioritize over your own like systems. But
Yeah.
I set alarm. What I'm trying to do is set alarms for myself.
Mm.
At least that works for me, my ADHD, and it helps me keep track of time, like be very aware of how much I'm taking with each task.
Yeah.
I'm also considering accountability buddies and doing like live work sessions where we're like
Ooh,
this,
yeah.
but we're just working.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then changing your environment. People say that just putting your shoes on and not just slumping in your
Mm.
pajamas, which is like tempting because you're like, oh, I work from
From
home,
home, yeah.
specifically me. But changing your environment, going to a lounge, a study lounge, or a Starbucks, or just somewhere that makes you disconnect
Mm.
from just the being at home state of mind.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely like work for me too, because I don't know, I've always like you have like for you, it's like interesting to hear because you say you're like the oldest
Mm-hmm.
sibling.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
for me, I'm also the oldest sibling, but from my family, but I also have cousins who are a bit older than me, and I've seen them how hard they work. And I see that, and for me, I'm actually scared to work hard, which is like the complete opposite because I've seen what that does to my cousin specifically that I'm um remembering. But yeah, so I also like want to like remind people that, or at least for me, like I struggle with productivity and all that. Like, even though I do have like times where I have a focus mode, there's like times where I like do something, and then after that it's like I distract myself for whatever reason, and then I end up feeling bad because oh fuck, I could have done something during that time. So, it's for me, I also take those baby steps because I'm not as productive as I wish I could be, and I don't have that discipline. So it's also reminding myself like you can't, like you said, Rome wasn't built in a day. So it's also that reminder, like if you're not as productive as you wish you could have, you have to work on that momentum, you could say, or that,
Yes,
or to
give
be like
yourself
become
grace.
disciplined.
Give yourself
Mm-hmm.
grace and always try to improve just 1%. If you try to
Yeah.
improve 1% every day, I think the most important thing is being self-aware. Like,
Yeah.
okay, you did this thing that you wish you would have improved on, then
Mm-hmm.
let's see how we can improve on it
Yeah.
tomorrow. Even if just a little bit, even if it's setting an alarm or writing it down, or sitting down to write down your wins at the end of the day to see like
Mm-hmm.
what you did,
Yeah.
or developing the schedule for the next day the night before instead of the morning. I don't know,
Yeah.
like small changes can have a
Mm-hmm.
big impact. And habit stacking, just like habit stacking has its pros, like stacking wins, stacking 1%
Yeah.
has can lead to a big impact.
Yeah. I think that's like having grace and celebrating the wins, like no matter how small or big, because
Yeah.
it's a lot of us like focus on the negative stuff, like, oh, like I could have done this or that. But then I like, for me, for example, I could remind myself like, oh, I did an interview today. It's something I've never done before. And that should be like my highlight of the day. And if I feel down, it's like, yeah, I remember this, yeah, you did this, like, eres una chingona, like stuff like that. So that's
Yes,
pretty.
así es. Me encanta, me encanta. I
So there
I
you go.
also no, I was gonna say I also am working on doing that, giving myself more grace every day.
Yeah. So I we talk about how the things that you've done, like, to prepare for like the your UGC start. Once you started getting that momentum, how were those experiences? Because like you were like struggling with your mental health and then working on it. Like when you started seeing those results, like how did that feel? Because I just can't imagine you've shared like how much you've made during those
Yes,
months after that. So like tell us
yes.
tell us everything.
I honestly my my boyfriend helps me like be more very aware of my wins. I sometimes don't give myself enough of like a celebration
Yeah.
party. But it's because of this like mindset. But I'm working on having more of an abundance mindset.
Yeah.
But I will say the Latina community hype started making me feel like hype even when I was back in April when I had just 1,000 followers on the I not even 1,000. It was like 500 something. It was like less than 1,000. And my For You page just brought me to the Latina community, and I
Mm,
started building it. They started building my confidence, and I started posting more and more of what I liked, which was creating ideas. Like I loved
mm,
sharing content ideas. I loved sharing stuff about social media. And even though I had like a few hundred views, I felt so good. I was like, you know
mm.
what? What if those 100 people were in my room, in my kitchen right
Yeah.
now? Like, they, first of all, they wouldn't even fit. Let's start there. And then second, I would be so honored that they like are watching my videos. So
Yeah.
then I started just continuing to post and post, and the Latina community would always hype me up. And then I started building momentum with my videos where it was very educational, high value
Mm.
content. And during the summer, again, once I officially stopped my
Started.
PhD and I had to get a part time, I did have a job, but it was a part time. So I purposely, I could have taken an industry job. I did have a bachelor's degree. I
Yeah.
could have taken a 9 to 5, but I said, no, I want a break. And even though it's not going to be a break, like I am
Mhm.
going to be starting a business and I'm going to be working a part time because I need to pay my bills, it's
Mhm.
still less pressure on my in my mind than
Yeah.
like starting a 9 to 5. I just could not. I wanted to give myself a chance. I just felt like it was something that I needed to do. I needed to
Mm.
do it. If I didn't try it, I wouldn't be able to live with myself. Like I would regret it.
Oh
and
wow.
I and I'm so glad I did. And so the Latina community and then the UGC community, once I did start posting about
Mm.
my UGC journey, like my steps, like building my portfolio and
Mm.
getting my first UGC deal, I did start posting about that. And so my community started growing and
Mm.
growing. And I got more and more into social media marketing, and it was surreal every time I got an inbound on my email saying, "Oh, we want to work with you." Getting my first four-figure deal, I cried. I literally cried. I cried so I cried a lot. I still can't believe I get to work with the brands that I work with or just get paid to do what I do. It's
Yeah.
really surreal every time I think about it, and I'm so grateful that I get to wake up now and literally want to just work nonstop on this. It's not that you should work 24/7, but it's how much I love to do it. And
Yeah.
I actually just signed, or I'm about to sign, hopefully a 5 month contract. It's my biggest
Oh
contract yet, and
wow.
I it shocks me. I'm like, wow. It makes me realize I am going to be doing this for the next 5 months.
Yeah. Congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you, thank you.
That's
And I
so awesome.
want this for everyone. That's the thing. I want this feeling for everyone.
Yeah. I feel like let's when you were starting that, because now you have these like these deals, but how did that first like few months of UGC and all of that, like what were you doing during those weeks? Because for me, I've only sent like maybe like 10 emails in like in brands, and then
Okay.
maybe like 20 for Airbnbs, like for the travel
Okay.
niche. So for you, what were you doing?
Yes.
Because you were
So
like you really dived in that.
So the thing is, you have to know your strengths. There are many ways you can grow as a creator, like whether that be influencing or UGC. Like there are so many avenues you can take and directions to one same
Yeah.
destination, like one same goal. I am not like as because of how I am at the moment, admin work, which is like typing, conversational typing and stuff and
Mm,
checking your email is not my strength. Like it really takes a lot for me to send an email, respond. So pitching, like
mm.
cold pitching was actually really hard for me. And
Oh, okay.
as a scientist, I love experimenting. So I'm always testing different strategies, different ways to do
Mm,
things. So I tested one form of pitching and I really didn't have a good response rate. True, I didn't also have the portfolio, well, the like repertoire, the portfolio to
mm.
back it up that I do that I have now, but I still think it wouldn't have made much of a difference. So because I couldn't like my strength wasn't in cold pitching and just sitting down to write an email
Mm,
took me hours, that wasn't sustainable for me. So I've always focused on personal branding. Like overall, personal branding is what's going to open the most doors for you. As an entrepreneur, as a creator, if you build your personal brand, you will be getting people coming to you rather than you having
mm.
to come to them.
To them, yeah.
And if you come to them, you'll have such like a community, a portfolio, a
Mm,
network to kind of back up your claim or whatever you're pitching
yeah.
for. So I really focused on continuing to post on TikTok, to be on Twitter, to grow a community, and I started getting people in my emails or in my inquiry form, and referrals is another great
True.
way to
Mm,
grow your network. And so that's another way that I've been able to continue to get consistent inbound. Also,
mm,
not putting all your eggs in one basket. So if cold pitching wasn't working or wasn't, I said, let's see what other sources are out there. So there's like platforms. And I know there's so many micro influencer UGC platforms. It was too overwhelming for me. So I went to freelance platforms like Upwork and I
mm,
started kind of just seeing what was there, what job postings were there, and I would take them out of the platform. I'm like, okay, we can work here, or I can get you an even better deal, but we have to work outside of the platform.
okay.
And so that would lead to more long-term relationships because that was my focus,
Yeah.
long-term relationships rather than one-off. But at the very beginning, like I took really lowball deals at the start.
Mm.
I lowballed myself. I remember my first discovery call with my first package client. He gave a price. Like he said, "Oh, and what was your rate?" And he said, "I think it was 450." And I corrected this man and I said, "No, it's 200 something." I
Oh,
and he and I was like, "Why? Why did I do that?
and sometimes
Why?"
we do that unconsciously too.
Yes, yes, we do. It's girl, something that I've really had to work on in this business and just in general, being a business owner, being an entrepreneur is business mindset, money
Mm,
mindset, and having an abundance mindset, but also having a good, strong business mindset because you need to
yeah,
know how to negotiate. You need to know how to market yourself. And that goes into personal branding as well.
yeah.
Like all of this is you being on TikTok, you being on Twitter, if you treat it as all part of your business, then it all goes into your personal brand.
Have you heard of Rachel Rogers?
Rachel Rogers. Oh my
She's
God.
a black business owner. She's like a coach, like a business coach type of thing, but she has like a whole membership. But pretty much like she one of the first things like because I have her membership, but one of the first things like she tells you is like double your price because
Yes.
like many of us like we like you said we do low offers where like other people are charging double, and for some people it's like easier to do high prices, but for most of us it's like, oh yeah, 200 is okay, 200 is good. But like, so like double your price, so because that's actually probably what you're worth, or maybe even more, but like
Yeah.
start
So
there.
I learned that day. It's so crazy. I posted a TikTok that day because the same day I closed that deal, it was that UGC deal. It was for
Mhm.
an ad. That was the crazy. It was for an ad. It wasn't even for organic, and I accepted that.
Oh.
This other brand, this and I don't say all the brand names because for most deals you sign NDAs, which is something that a lot of creators don't like talk about. The
Mm.
fact that most brands or agencies ask you to sign NDAs, so like a lot of people that I see just giving away emails, I'm like, oh, you have to be careful with that, lady or
Really?
sir. But anyway, this other brand that same day offered me 4 figures, like 1,000 for just one video, and they wanted two. So
Yeah. Wow.
the same day I got offered 1,000 for a video and 90 something for another, and I accepted both. It's crazy. And
That is
okay, to
crazy.
be fair, every brand has their own budget. Not,
Mm.
you're right. And if you need to say yes to a deal because you need that money right now, that is totally fine. But especially now, I'm at a point where I am only accepting deals that are able to pay my worth. Like
Yeah.
I agree with your business mentor. Like you should always like bump it up every time you get a new offer. You bump
Yeah.
it up, and you should never say yes to the first offer. I literally just learned this 5 month deal. Andrea, escúchate esto. This 5 month deal, they came with it. I have worked with this agency before. I love them. I've been working with them since I started. They were my first clients, and back in June when I had just 1,000 something followers, they
Wow.
reached out to me for a monthly retainer. I was crying my face off. I was like, what is this? Did I just have to decide that I wanted to do UGC for me to start monetizing? Was it really that simple? Not not physically, just like manifestationally. Like,
Mm.
did I just have to put out in the universe
Yeah.
that this is the path that I wanted for just like the universe to start
So sorry.
attracting
Yeah.
this to me?
Receiving all of that.
Yes, thank you. But I've worked with them a lot. They're great. And they said, Laura, we want to work with you again, 5 months. This is the fee. It was 4 figures. It was great. It was really nice. And past Laura would have said yes in a heartbeat.
Mm.
But past Laura is not uh in driving right now. Like
Mm.
we are new Laura. This is 2023 Laura.
The business
We
mindset, Laura.
Yes, thank you. Oh my God, my English, I swear I wouldn't ramble this much in
No,
Spanish.
same. That's me too.
But I said this is one thing. I share on my page when how to turn like gifted to paid, how to like
Mm.
pitch, how to do follow-ups, how to negotiate.
Yes.
And I usually write it out. But one thing that
Mm.
I'm doing lately is sending videos. As you can
Mm.
see, I love to talk and I don't like typing. So I sent this woman a video saying, look, I appreciate you guys. I really want to work with you guys. And I understand that budgets fluctuate, that, you can't offer me the same budget always, and
Mm.
that this is a 5 month contract rather than a one-off contract. But my rates have not gone down. The
Oh,
work that you are requesting has not changed. Like it's literally the
the
same amount of
same.
time that I'm going to have to put in.
Mm.
So this is not going to work for me. We can do this, or this. Like I can give you 5 concepts or 6 concepts, and we can bump up the rate a little bit more. And I'm going to give you a bit more. You let me
Mm.
know what you think and how we're going to work together, because I'm at the point where I can just easily say no. But
Mm.
I am so fortunate, and I am at that point where I am comfortable with just saying no, and until the better offer comes. And
Because you know
so
your
they
worth.
Yes, and she came back to me saying, Laura, thank you so much for explaining this to me. Let me just talk to my account manager to like see if we can be flexible on the budget. And then less than 24 hours later, she came back saying, Laura, we can like raise the budget, and we don't need you to do any more work, just the same four that we asked, and we're gonna raise the, like, they're giving me more than the previous project budget. So I was like, yes, this works for me.
That's awesome. And it's taking that initiative too of like, like I don't know, asking for more, and maybe asking more than you think that they
can offer you,
that they can offer you.
Yep.
And but knowing that you could lower it down, but not too low where it's like it's too low. So yeah, taking that initiative is definitely important.
Closed mouths don't get fed. So you need to ask for more if you want more. Obviously, if you are in a position to risk it, because they could have said, you know what, you are great, but there are maybe there are a few others just as great. I don't think so. I think I'm amazing. But they could have said no, you know. And knew, like, when I sent that video, which took me a lot of breath to send, I was like, you know what? I told my boyfriend. He was like, "You're really gonna send that?" And I'm like, yes, because it's a good offer, but it's not what I could do better. I want better. I deserve better. And I sent it and I said, if they say no, I'm okay with that. I wasn't expecting them, so that's okay. And they said yes. So you know what? always
and that's awesome because it like opens you to more possibilities. So like if they could pay me this much, and with the knowledge that I have now, in a few months where I have more knowledge and more experience, it's like, dude, I could increase that price even higher.
That's what I think about always. Like I know I've grown my rate because I have grown in how much I know, my portfolio, my skills, my my team, like it everything grows, and so my rate also grows. And that's okay. That's part of the process. That's part of the journey. Oh, good.
I have a quick question because that's something that's been you mentioned about like organic content and ads. Is that a completely like different rate? Because I know they use it to increase more engagement. So just like a quick question, like pricing for that.
Yes, absolutely. Pricing is different. So I don't have a good structure for my rates because I'm always changing them, because I'm always increasing them, and they're always fluctuating. And it really depends on the client, because I know like some clients only have so much budget, and it's my prerogative to say yes or no. Like you decide with which brands you want to work with. Because some clients of mine, maybe they don't pay as much as others, but I'm learning more. Maybe they let me be more involved, and
like their culture is better compared to
things like that. Like I have my, like, you decide what value you're getting from each relationship that you are forming with these clients. It could also be a network opportunity, like they could get you more referrals, stuff like that. And so for organic versus ads, there should be a difference in pricing, because the purpose of organic UGC is brand awareness. So it's just going to be sitting on the brand's feed, or maybe you're doing an organic UGC for a story post, but either way, they can use it on the feed. And if it converts, great, but that is not the purpose. It's brand awareness. It's likes, shares, follows, it's, all of that. The purpose of an ad content, asset, they are going to be putting money behind that, because they want the algorithm, whether that be Meta, TikTok, or YouTube, Google, whatever their platform they're using, they're going to target a specific demographic based on whatever their media buyer establishes that ad, and it needs to convert. Usually it's sales. Sometimes it's traffic to a page. Sometimes it's leads, but honestly, the recommendation of every media buyer person that I've heard is like, you should not be on social media pushing ads for anything other than sales conversions. And so they are going to be generating revenue from this piece of content that you are giving. Okay, so just like influencers also charge differently, you as a UGC creator should charge accordingly. Whether that be a base rate for ads versus organic, or what I do have a difference, because there's usually a difference in structure as well. Like an ad needs to be usually more researched and more structured than a piece of organic content. Like a piece of organic content can be as easy as a trend or as complex as a tutorial. Like I'm not saying it's not complicated to be an organic creator, but ads, there is a certain structure to them. And the fact is, you can charge usage rights for them to continue using that ad for months at a time. Versus an organic piece of content, you usually charge a flat fee for a certain amount of usage. Some creators give perpetuity. I personally am not giving perpetuity. I give organic content away for a year, 2 years at most. And
sorry, perpetuity is like I don't even know how to say
forever.
Yeah.
Yes, that means that you could, like, technically that means that you could be 50 years old, and depending on exactly what you signed away, like what rights in perpetuity you signed away, your face from when you were 20 could be plastered on like a digital billboard, just like, and it could be some other company, because this other company bought the one that you gave the content to, and now they own it. Like, that's how you really need to read contracts when you're a creator, because that is how it could, like, how the worst case scenario could be. And I know it sounds like, oh, worst case scenario, but you never know. Like, especially I've seen it happen. Like, I've seen I've read and heard horror stories from creators that still see their faces where they didn't want it.
Oh wow, that's crazy. I didn't even know that. Okay.
Yeah.
That's can you like share one horror story?
Yes. So it happens a lot in the beauty industry. What the first case I heard was, the girls that you see on the dye boxes, like on the hair dye boxes with the dye, this like older woman like went to the supermarket and she's like, this is my face when I was young. Like, it's been over 30 years, and she like went to and she's like, this is my face, and she got cents. She was 15 and she got like cents on the dollar, honestly, for her like photo shoot. It was really cheap, and they used it on billboards, on webcoms, magazines, on the boxes. It was ridiculous. And then this other girl, she gave a photo assuming it was only going to be used for digital formats, and she didn't read that it was also for print. And then they saw it on a billboard, and she saw it on a billboard. Yeah. And these were influencer cases, but the same could happen for a UGC creator. Actually, there was this one was really recent, and I wanted to do, it's on my list to do a video about it. This influencer, well, she considers herself an influencer. She's I think she had 100-something thousand followers. So community, she had a following. Perfect. She also did UGC on the side, which is really common. Influencers do UGC on the side. And she did it with Linktree. Do you know what Linktree is? Like the link bio tool? Yeah. So she did it with Linktree. She got, for this ad, which was an ad, it was an ad. I'm not sure if she was aware of it, but it was an ad. And she was like, she didn't even use Linktree. Apparently she wasn't aware of the tool, but she, just followed the script. It was scripted, and she got paid, I believe, 150, which is like the minimum that you want for a UGC video. I did get paid less at the start, but now I know better. And for an ad, that is like super low, super low. And she got, and especially when you already have a personal brand, you need to be aware of that when you're doing UGC and you're developing your personal brand. Like, she has 100,000 followers. She has an audience. Your face could pop up on their feed as an ad. You need to be aware of that. Like, and they not know that you're doing it as UGC versus as part of your influencer persona. So she kind of didn't really think about all that, and she just accepted the $150 rate. She didn't see the usage rights she was signing away.
Oh my God.
And they used it as an ad, and they created a Linktree like for her just for the ad. When she uses something else, like if you went to her profile, she uses something else.
Yeah.
And so they've used the ad for months and months and months and months. I checked it. I have this tool where you can check ads and how much they have converted. It has converted tons and tons, like thousands and thousands of
Oh my
dollars.
God.
And she got $150 from it and so much hate because people recognize
Yeah.
her. So they like, what
Holy
are you
crap.
doing promoting Linktree when you don't use Linktree? And she's like, this was so long ago and I'm still getting like harassed by it.
Really?
So she really, this is why you need to be really aware of what you sign and what you
Mm,
do as a creator, because it's all part of your personal brand,
yeah.
your background, your portfolio, you know. Yeah, you need to be careful.
That's crazy. I didn't I feel like I'm not so much into like the research on all that. So that's crazy to hear. Especially the one with like the 30 years that with the dye hair. That's crazy.
Yes,
And
and that happens a lot.
you can't like sue them. I mean, it's a contract, so I don't think it's
Yes,
like so
I mean,
complicated in there.
it's so and not many people, you know, have the means to
Yeah,
have
because
something like that be worth pursuing.
yeah.
But yeah, you can totally. I'm the first one that would say, "Excuse me," but it really depends on what you signed. And I'm the
Mm.
first to say I've signed things that I probably shouldn't have at the start. But you live and you learn, and that's why I try to preach and say anything that I learn
Yeah.
on my feed, because I'm hoping that, you know, other people don't go through what I go through, just like have a better experience. And
Yeah.
it's so much easier to start any business, but especially being in the UGC space now, it's so much easier
Mm.
because there's so much
How
information out there.
yeah, and I was gonna say that because there's so much information out there. So how did you started finding those resources, and then how is that now? Like, how do you find those resources now?
So honestly, it's so crazy. When I heard about UGC, and I got on Twitter because Twitter is the place to be for
Mm,
UGC. It's like TikTok is a place to be if you want to be a UGC creator, because that is where you build a personal brand. You can
mm.
also do the same on Twitter. I've just found more success through TikTok. It's a lot easier and it's more my format. But I do try to be on Twitter. The point is, when you would search the hashtag UGC on Twitter, you would just get Roblox ads. Like that's the only thing you got. And on TikTok, it was like the same people, the OGs for
Mm,
me, which is the Lauren Labeled agency, which is two Laurens, two friends that
mm.
became agency creators and had so much success because it wasn't as mainstream as it is now, and they started an
Mm.
agency, and they were, I think, one
Oh
of the
wow.
first UGC creator agencies that
Agencies.
built. And then I also saw Maddie from Creatively Maddie. She's
Mm,
also amazing. And Jessica Parada, a Latina mom. Just I saw a
mm,
few creators speaking on this, but it was very, very sprinkled on my
mm.
feed. And then all of a sudden in June, it blew
Blew
up.
it up.
So personally, I did invest in certain courses, but
Mm,
I won't even mention them just because I didn't actually use them. So that's one thing I will give it, like, my advice. Know yourself. Know thyself.
mm,
If you are not the person that is going to have the discipline to sit down and look at like replays or recordings
mm,
of a person of certain, like, you know, when you listen to someone on TikTok, it's all about energy. Like if you
mm.
resonate with someone's energy, with someone's story, like,
Yeah.
well, the same goes with coaching and mentoring. Like you really need to resonate with the person and with the community.
Yeah.
And so I was in a mindset at the time and in a lifestyle that did not allow for me to just sit down and
Mm,
watch recordings.
yeah.
And so it was a bit of a waste of money, but it was a tax write-off. So I will say that tax write-offs are a blessing in this industry. It's the best way to go about the business because honestly, the taxes are crazy sometimes. But I really learned a lot from just taking action eventually in June. At the
Mm,
start, it was listening to others. It was looking at others' journey. And
yeah.
right now, that's how you can learn on TikTok. If you have any question all about UGC or about anything, but specifically UGC, like how to build your portfolio, how to pitch to brands, how to negotiate, how to rate, set your rates. Literally, you can just search anything and there will be dozens of videos already on TikTok. I see the same, and don't get me wrong, I love answering questions, but I see people that don't take action because they can't buy a course or they can't. I'm like, there are free guides out there.
Yeah.
There are free starter guides. There are YouTube videos, hours length that you can watch. You just have to sit down and take action and say, enough is enough. I'm going to sit down for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever it takes today, and compile the information that I need to take the next step, and then the next step, and then the next step.
Yep, that's actually what I did with my UGC portfolio, because for me, I'm someone that loves courses. So I bought, and some are pretty expensive. I think I mentioned like the price in one of my previous episodes, but I won't say it again. But it was pretty expensive, and yeah, but this one is actually from Rachel Rogers, and I've learned so much. So like the things that I'm able to like share about, like pivoting careers or pivoting a business or stuff like that, I learned because of her. And I just like her, this is not sponsored, or I wish it was, but honestly, like, her content is amazing, and it is true, like finding people or finding someone that you really resonate with, because for her it's like it's more like a black community, because she's black, so the black community, but there's also a lot of diversity in her thing, and there's like some anyways, but yeah, so for me it was like courses. I really like them, but with my UGC portfolio, I was like, I can't afford more courses right now. Like I really can't. So I did the YouTube thing, like how to build a UGC portfolio, and literally I just did all the steps there, and I was able to do the portfolio maybe like in a few days. The only thing I was missing was creating the videos for it, like yeah. But yeah, definitely recommend using as many free resources.
I remember, like, I have a Google Drive called the UGC Hub, which I'm gonna move to a more open and accessible website, because I every time I see I get a comment saying, or I've actually seen people post saying, oh, everyone's trying to monetize UGC and nobody's like giving away free information, and I'm like, excuse me, sir, or actually it's usually women, which makes me angrier. Excuse me, do you not know that I have a free, first of all, every creator I know, coach, has free resources as much as they have their services.
Yeah.
So do I don't really promote them because I it's very limited. But the point is, we all give information for free. You just have to take the time to sit down and go through it and look for it.
Yeah.
And so in the UGC Hub, every week I've had the pleasure of going live with different creators in the industry, and we always have a different topic. But honestly, on every episode we talk about everything, but there's always like a main topic, whether that be contracts, negotiation, pitching. I've had agency founders also go on live and say, what do you look for in a UGC creator?
Oh wow.
Or how do you stand out with your UGC videos when you're like looking through portfolios? What do we have to do now? Like stuff like that. And all of that is accessible for free, but taking the time, there's such a thing as, information saturation. So I did in June, I said, enough is enough. No more information. So many people were taking action. Like that's what pumped me. Like so many people got into the space. There was a wave in June, and I said, I am not gonna get left behind. I got FOMO, and I said, no. I took a break so I could do what I wanted, and what I want to do is pursue UGC. I was made for for marketing, for this industry. So I need to stop listening to other people's journey, and I've absorbed enough. I always say the first step is research. I researched from February to June. Enough research. You learn as you grow. Like my first deal, $80 for an ad in Spanish. I should charge more for that. And I fully edited it. Like that is lowball tiered. Most UGC creators now don't accept that. Why? Because we have shouted it from the rooftop that you should not take lowball offers.
Mhm.
But if you do it, that's your prerogative, whether like
That's
however
your
you
choice at yeah.
benefit to you. Just like some creators promote gifted collabs and others, I'm more like,
You shouldn't,
so
yeah.
depending on what, like unless it's really, really strategic, I would say push for sponsored first before you just say yes. I just say don't say yes to the first offer, even if it's
Yeah.
gifted. Like don't say yes to the first
Negotiate.
offer.
Yeah,
Exactly.
for sure.
But all of this was me growing, developing more of a business mindset more than anything. Like the information and the tools are there. It's just you developing the discipline to follow through with the things that you te proponen, what you propose
Yeah,
for yourself.
that's so true. And one of the things from that I learned from Rachel was because there's like different levels of like how much you're making. So I'm obviously in the first level. So hers is like literally just tell your offer like to whoever, like your family members, to whoever, like depending on whatever you're doing, but literally just put yourself out there and create that, like those strategies to take those consistent actions. So yeah, that's really true. I want to go back to the community because that's something I'm like trying to understand, because you say I get so much support from my community and whatnot, but how do you know you're building or having a community? That makes
Oh
sense.
my God. So I am obsessed with the Latina and UGC community. It's crazy because I will post something and instantly get a comment, a hype comment from either the Latina community or the UGC community. And how I know I've built a community is because they continue. I consistently see them on my lives. I consistently see them comment. I consistently see them on my comment section or comment on the live. I am on their profiles, also boosting them up. They are transferable mostly. If I have them on TikTok, I usually also have them on Twitter or Instagram, so I also engage with them there, and that's how I know like this is my community. Like these girls, mostly girls. I do have some guys, but mostly girls. That I will just like comment on a TikTok, and then I'll go to Instagram to send them an audio and hype them up some more. And then I have some on WhatsApp. I have some that we do like Zoom calls every so often.
Oh
Like
wow.
that's how you know that you've built a community. And in the UGC space, just like in the Latina space, it's so tight knit. Like the Latina community is so wholesome, so loyal, so supportive. You can see the Latina follow train is happening right now on TikTok, and that is so beautiful. Well, the UGC community is equally supportive and engaging. Like you say, it's day one of my UGC journey, and you'll have people following you in seconds, like piranhas in your comments saying, congrats, you got this. Like we all want to boost each other up. There's like really, unless at least on my side, there's like no gatekeeping, no like mala vibra, like no bad vibes between us. We're all growing and thriving together. If someone gets like most of the UGC creators that started with me have guides and courses. And like every time they get a guide or a product out, I'm like, congrats, girl. Like I'm sharing it. I'm like, whether or not I'm buying it or not, which some I do, but most are targeted towards
Beginners.
creators, which is honestly very important. I didn't have like I said, when I started, there weren't as specialized and as valuable services like there are now. Like the coaches, my friends, they can coach you to make 4 figures, just like we can now easily instruct you in the as to how to grow in the UGC space. Before there were just a lot of micro influencer coaches. Now you have UGC coaches, and you have a lot of UGC specific information, UGC specific contracts. Like there are so many resources now to help you thrive and grow quicker than before.
Yeah, that's so true. Also with the travel UGC, I went to TikTok, and that's when I was like getting all my resources and seeing, I don't know, but anyways, for community, that's something I'm still working on. So yeah, I want
to it's opening. I think in my case it was just like really opening myself up to the space. So it's important to balance your content for exposure and nurturing. So I made sure
Mm,
to have content that nurtured my audience, that
okay.
made them feel connected to me, like posting about my being a Latina, and that
Mm.
really connects with the Latina community
Oh,
more.
okay.
A how-to video for UGC, sharing my ups and downs on Twitter, like my wins as much as my losses on Twitter.
Mm,
That creates a connection with the UGC community. Being open in my DMs to like helping people out, being in the comments, like being supportive in the comments of other people,
mm,
also feel like they feel welcomed in my space, etc.
yeah.
Stuff like that. And the lives, personally, I think that's helped me a lot. Like they see my personality is so much easier, and that's how I connect directly also with some specifically creators, and their
Mm,
audience gets to know me as well. So
mm. That's for the lives. When did you get the idea to start?
oh my God, I got that really early on because I
Really?
I just wanted to meet people. I wanted to connect. I wanted to talk, and I felt isolated. Like I don't get out much. I'm in these four walls in my apartment, and working from home, that happens a lot, especially if you live in a cold place like where I do right now.
Mm,
You kind of get you isolate yourself. And
yeah.
being in social media marketing, not everyone in your life will understand you. So like I needed people, I wanted to connect with people in my community, my music
Hmm.
community. And so I released my portfolio late June. And by the first week of July, I was already like, I want to go live. I had
Oh,
just gotten
wow.
I had gotten like 1,500 followers. I was gaining a lot of momentum in the summer. Like my followers grew a lot, and I was like, I want to go live. I want to go live so bad because I know that's how you continue growing, and that's how you meet people
Hmm.
and connect. And so I found it too hard to go live by myself. I was too nervous and flustered,
Hmm.
but I love talking like this. This is easy for me. So I said, how about I start inviting people to go live with me? And not a
Mm,
lot of people would go live before. Like it was really in the UGC space, really, it was really rare.
mm,
And so I started messaging people, and I did a list. I opened a Notion page
yeah.
called UGC Wednesdays because my ADHD needs consistency. So I just like decided they're gonna be on Wednesday. If it can't be on Wednesday, that's fine. But like
Mm.
structure wise, it's on
You
Wednesdays
already
at
know it's Wednesday.
yeah, exactly. And so I started inviting people, and honestly, almost like 90% have said yes. And I'm so grateful for that. Like everyone is so open to like give an hour or more of their time and just
Hmm.
talk about whatever topic they want to, whether that's Airbnb, UGC, or
Mm.
negotiations, whatever. And it's been really fun. And then my audience also gets to know them, and we just get to chat.
Yeah, it's a whole interaction between
Yeah,
communities, so
it's
that's
my
pretty
little
awesome.
podcast show. I call them episodes and everything. It's like we're on episode 25 this next Monday. It's episode 25, and
And
I treat it as my little it's my prep. I feel for when I start my YouTube blogcast or my podcast, which I'm starting YouTube this month. But it's
that's
like my
awesome.
prep. I've loved it. I love host. I feel like I love hosting.
Do you have because those lives, do they save? Because I know you
Yeah,
mentioned you were having
those
on
are the
your
ones that
hub,
I put on
on
the
your
on
hub.
the hub. I also put other resources there, like my portfolio
Mm,
webinar and like webinars that I've done, and any like a Canva guide that I make.
mm,
I post them there. But then in
ooh,
addition, there's a whole folder for the UGC Wednesday replays. But that's what I want to
oh,
transfer to a website, so it's like easier, more
yeah.
accessible to people. I don't know.
You should also add those like lives, like the audios, like actually do turn it into a podcast. So I don't know, like
That's
putting it into
I
a
know
platform.
people have said that to
You
me, but
have
I
to.
it's so many things. That's my task switching, and for me is very hard. And the amount of to-do lists that I have undone because my problem
Mm,
isn't coming up with ideas. My problem is I want to see what my human design evaluation says
mm,
about me. I don't know if you've read much into human design, but there's like generators, manifestors, reflectors. Like I'm not sure,
I
but
remember, but I'm a
it speaks about what the type
yeah.
of person you are, and I feel like I'm whatever the type of person is that just like comes up with the ideas. Like, and then I have to like, okay, you do this. you do that one
Mm,
because it's really hard. But that's why I'm really focusing on giving myself grace
yeah.
because I'm an older sister, because I'm first gen, I feel like I have to do everything that comes to
Mm.
my head
And it's
instantly,
not,
like
yeah.
tomorrow. And no, it's, day by
No,
day. It's okay if
yeah.
if somebody else is really doing their thing and building out something that maybe you
Mm.
wanted and is already like 5 steps ahead. You know what? You're gonna do your thing
Yeah,
and it's
it's
gonna
your
come out
process.
your way, and it's gonna make you even happier to create it at your own pace.
Yeah, and it goes back to like boundaries and knowing what you prioritize because
Yeah,
like you said, you can't do everything, and especially for those who like are very creative and get like ideas like 24/7. It's like you really need to, it's not even like you need to learn how to say yes, is you need to learn how to say no to those
that's my thing.
things.
I'm a recovering people pleaser. So my entire adulthood has been just learning to say no. And it's because you need a ride, yes. You need money, yes. You need no. It's gonna be no, no, no. And so in this UGC space, the idea of inbounds and deals can be kind of intoxicating at
Mm.
first. Like, oh yes, you're getting so many deals, or if if you pitch yourself or you're like
Mm.
getting good responses, whatever, you're getting so many opportunities, but all of these deals take time, and all just like your relationship takes time, just like sleeping
Mhm.
takes time and making food, so you need to balance yourself out,
Yeah.
you need to check yourself.
Yeah, that's something that many of us forget. So definitely we got to remember that almost every single day. I want to move into the money beliefs because that's something I love talking about money and like learning other people's perspectives. So for you, how was your relationship with money before UGC and especially now and then with UGC because you're earning more than four figures. So how is that relationship? And then how is that relationship now?
Yeah, so I have a lot of financial anxiety, and I've had to really, really work on that this past year. I
Mhm.
burnt myself. It comes hand in hand with my toxic productivity mindset.
Mm.
It feels because within the freelance space, the more you work, the more you make.
Yeah.
So in October, I nearly burnt myself out because I said yes to everything.
Mm.
If you see my month to month progress, I think it was that month that I made the most in October because I
Mm.
worked the most.
Yeah.
And that is not sustainable. And I realized that it's because I had not just financial anxiety, but I had a scarcity mindset,
Mm.
and that is not how you become a millionaire. That is not how you find true success.
Yeah.
And obviously, everyone has a different definition of success, but literally, a scarcity mindset can trickle into everything in your life, not just physical money.
Mm.
But for me, it was like this. I No matter what I made, it wasn't enough. I did
Mm.
not feel safe. I did not feel safe because
Yeah.
I was relating like financial stability with happiness, or just like
Mm. Yeah.
with I can take a break. Financial stability, I can take a break. When it shouldn't be like that, and it depends on what you define as financial stability.
Yeah.
Because what I had to realize is, can you pay your bills? Yes. Can you pay if something happens right now to the car? Can you pay? Yes.
Mm.
Do you need anything else? Do you have food on the table? Yes. Then you have everything you need. Like as
Yeah.
much as you need. You have as much as you need. Everything else is pure blessing. And
Mm-hmm.
basically I'm still working on an abundance mindset.
Yeah.
And that's how I'm developing my money mindset.
Mm.
Also my negotiation skills. Like you're the especially in the creative industry, the assets you create aren't valued only on the hours it took to make. Like it's not just billable hours,
Mm.
like how many hours it took to create this video. It's what is the value, what is the return on investment that
Mm.
the client is potentially going to get with this asset.
Yeah.
That is also going to factor into the final value of that asset that
Mm.
you're giving, or your service. Like my service, oh, it's 1 hour of my time, but how many hours have I put in to get to where I am now
Yep.
to be able to give you as much information as I will in
Mm.
1 hour? Like how much of,
Yeah.
and how valuable is the information, the content of this 1 hour call that I'm going to be offering you. That
Mm-hmm.
also needs to be factored in. Before it was just like, oh, $10 an hour. That means if I'm getting a video for $100 that only takes me 1 hour, I'm getting $100 an hour. That's pretty good. I'm not saying that's bad. $100 of it's not bad.
Mm-hmm.
But when you factor in that this is a video that's going to be used for an ad by a company as big as Amazon,
Mm-hmm.
so they're going to be making thousands, potentially millions of
Millions.
this video because it's well researched, well structured, well made,
Mm-hmm.
and you know that you have done good content that performs before, then that kind of bumps it up a bit.
Yeah.
So kind of developing that you deserve more than especially in this industry, you deserve more than just the hours that
The
you are
hour. Mm-hmm.
physically putting in now.
And that's something people don't understand. Like either like those, like let's say like those who are booking your call or the services that people provide, because they're like, why are you charging, let's say $200 an hour? And it's like, but you and or even more that there's other people, or even like with courses, like there's like those courses that like cost like $2,000, and they're like, why are they so expensive? But if you go back to the person who created it, like they spend like years learning all of that knowledge, and you get to get all of that in just one space or in one meeting. And
Or a lifetime. If it's a course,
mhm,
they usually like give you
you
access for a lifetime. You could do it at your pace. You have
mhm,
it curated. I really am not a hater like of like I do not appreciate when people who don't have a good understanding of
mm,
something try
yeah,
to start selling guides and courses and templates when and or reselling information from other people, which is actually illegal. Like that is something I don't appreciate. But if you have
mm,
worked hard to learn and grow in a certain
yeah,
area and you want to share that information and monetize it in some way, power to you. Because
mhm,
anything like you, nobody is forcing you to buy a course in,
mhm,
especially in the UGC. That is something that I see a lot. Like I said, you can search for anything. It's just going to take you some time, and you might find the information from different sources unless you're scrolling through someone's profile. Like if you just want to search each question, you might find different people answering different things.
mm,
So like you have to decide how you curate this information for yourself versus paying for it from one source that curated it for you in her way, and you resonate with how that person,
yeah,
explains things or curates things, or her opinion is something that you share. So you will be okay with how she's teaching things, stuff like
mhm,
that.
yeah. For with the going back with the money,
Mhm.
what resources have you used to learn and educate yourself more in
So
finances?
so doing your market research is so important. That's how I always modify my rates. Like I
Mhm,
go to people that are at the same level as me, like they started at the same
mm,
time as me, and I see what they're doing, what they're pricing themselves as, and then like I said, I always bump it up to see
mm,
how far can I push it. At
mhm.
first I didn't do that. It took me a second to say, am I willing to lose this client? Like,
Yeah,
am I ready to back up my claim? Like if they say, and I've had to explain my raising my prices to clients, obviously men. They're like, oh, why are you like doubling your rate?
yeah.
And I'm like, well, first of all, the one benefit of being a freelancer is that I get to price myself. Look at that. I get to say exactly what I want. Second of all, industry standard, based on what my research from other creative strategists in the industry in the space,
Yeah.
I am severely undercharging. And I am giving you not one variation, I am giving you multiple variations. Like I explained the value that I was
Yeah.
providing. And we have seen that the assets that I give you previously have performed. So all of this lets me understand that it is okay for me to decide that I want to raise my rates. If you'd like to continue working with me, we can discuss how we will
Yeah.
be, what package will be agreeing to moving forward. If not, it was great working with you. And
Yeah.
that, and they came back, and we continue to work together.
Yeah, because it's that thing of like you, if you're gonna do in this case like raise your prices, you gotta know why you're raising your prices, not just like, oh yeah, I'm gonna no, you gotta give your reasoning, because if someone were to do the same to you, it's like oh, but why are
Yeah.
you charging me more? It's like, yeah, because this and that, and this is the value I provide, and this is my worth. So
But yeah, that's the thing. This is my worth. That's something I had to like, a limiting belief that I had to
mm,
work through. Like, this is my worth.
yeah,
I am worth this. Even if this man doesn't think I'm worth 300, $400 a
yeah,
video, I know I am worth it. And you
mm-hmm,
are willing to, not move forward with that relationship if they don't agree with
yeah,
you. That is something I really had to accept, to like
mm-hmm,
say, Laura, no vas a aceptar
yeah,
más nada abajo de esto. Like, se
yeah.
acabó.
That's so true. Um, in the more personal finance, what resource? Because for me, let's say I read I've read The Psychology of Money. I don't know if you heard about that book.
I want to read that one. I've followed certain accounts on TikTok that read books. So I listen to their lives, and so one of them read snippets of that one, and I loved it, but
It's really good.
I didn't finish it with her. She didn't finish it.
She
She
didn't
only
finish
read
the book.
a few chapters.
Yeah, well, that was a really good book because it talks about like it gives stories on how compound effect works in money specifically, of course. There's another one I read, The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. So that one's also pretty interesting because it goes with like many of us, especially like I don't know, Latina or Hispanic community. It's like the rich people are bad or stuff like that. Where and he's like, no, because if you want to be rich, if you want to be financially wealthy, then you can be um criticizing other people because that's gonna become you. You're gonna become that rich person. So for me, that book was really eye-opening on like the things that I had to like work on my money beliefs. So
I love that. I 100% agree. Like, you are what you speak and what you think. Like, everything is an
yeah.
exchange of energy. So like,
Mm-hmm.
if that's what you're putting into the universe, you're not
Yeah.
inspiring a positive reciprocity
Yeah.
towards you. And I've learned, like, millionaires, that's another thing. I've had to learn to be delusional.
Oh,
Like,
I hear that a lot. Yeah.
not just to thrive in social media, because you do have to be delusional to like make it in this space, but to be a millionaire, you have to be delusional, honestly, to the rest of the world, because to them, this is normal, this is the right state of mind, but to us, to commoners, that is delusional thinking. But that is how you get there. You have to believe that you are worth, especially if you don't believe it yet fully,
Mhm.
you have to believe that you are worth
Yep.
5 times with what they are offering. Like, yes, no, that is not what like, you up the prices. You
Mhm.
have to believe that you can be a millionaire, that you can attract abundance in your
Mhm.
life, that you can build a business, and you can be director of something, or start a journey and make a 6-figure business off
Yep.
of it. Like, you have to believe it first if you want it to happen.
Yeah. And it's all goes back to like becoming aware of what are those beliefs. Because in the morning I was listening to this episode or this YouTube video with someone that I listen to a lot, Fer Broca. So he was talking about la ley del espejo, so the law of the mirror, you could say.
Uh-huh.
So he was saying how whatever like triggers you, that's gonna you got to see why that triggers you, because you're not like people or things or obstacles come to you not because they want to hurt you or whatever. It's because
Uh-huh.
you have something to learn from them.
Yes,
So
yes, like, things don't happen to you, they happen for you.
mhm,
That is something I've had to take to heart, because I'm the type that would instantly, in my very darker state, I would be
mhm,
like, the universe is against me. Like, everything is happening to me. Like, I cannot be in this world because I'm just not
yeah,
strong enough. Everything is against me. But
mhm,
no, no, everything happens for me. Everything
yeah,
is a lesson.
mhm,
Everything is something to grow from.
yeah. And I've also heard how like those things that we call like obstacles or those like bad things, it's it's not again, to hurt you. It's to give you more clarity on where, on the direction that you should be going. Because like you said, many of us think like, oh, life is like, why is life doing this to me? But it's like, for you, for example, with UGC and maybe pausing on the PhD, it's like you wanted a more creative outlet. You were like, how do I get this? You got like, could you speed that with the UGC in February? And then the direction where I was taking you is like, no, you gotta go this way, you gotta go this way, you gotta go to
Yeah.
UGC. And now, and taking those steps and deciding like, oh yes, I'm doing this. Like, look at the success that you had. It's fucking
Yes.
crazy.
It's crazy. Like I am blown away. Like I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a solopreneur. I'm
Mhm.
building a business and I have so many aspirations that I did not have before.
Yeah.
Yes, I had a plan. I had things that I wanted to do. I did have ambitions before, but they're completely different. And I'm slightly intimidated by my own ambition, but it's fun and it's exciting. It's
Yeah.
and I feel so empowered. Like before I was a student and there was certain safety in being a student, and I loved being a student, and I was a researcher. I did work, I had an income and everything, but it didn't feel as much as an adulthood as now, where yeah, I work, and if I don't work, I don't pay the bills, and I have to think about how I'm going to scale the business so I
Mhm.
can focus more hours on me and less
Yeah.
on the business, because that's what you do as an entrepreneur, right? You want to have to put less hours
Less
into,
hours in it.
so
Yeah.
you can focus more on yourself, and honestly on building my personal brand. I love creating content and just focusing on that and less
Mhm.
on admin and other
Yeah.
stuff. So
And
yeah, I love it.
that's cool because with, again, this is not sponsored, but with like Rachel, her thing, like it teaches you like, also one of the first things that you gotta do is hire people if you want to
Yes,
scale.
yes, yes. Your time is worth so much more than your money.
Mm-hmm.
I that is something I learned in October. Like I
Mm.
developed over 80 UGC briefs in 1 week, and I burnt myself out. It was ridiculous. I saw the sun way too many times, and that is where I learned no amount of money is worth this
Mm.
like exhaustion. And no, I
Mm-hmm.
need to outsource. I need to hire an editor or hire a VA. I'm actually going to start hiring a project manager. It's also hard if you're, since I'm a type A person, it's very hard for me to delegate and
Mm.
give the reins to somebody else. But that is how you scale. Like
Mm-hmm.
scaling is when you do less and your business continues to grow.
Yeah.
That's the idea. That's the honestly the goal. No, this hustle boss energy, this
Mm-mm.
hustle boss mentality, boss girl mentality does not work for me. This is a
Yeah.
new empowered, thriving boss girl energy
Mm-hmm.
that we're going for, where we outsource and we like make sure to put our health before our business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And oh man, I just had a point, but going with the, se me perdió el oh my God. This happens to me all the time where I just have like a
No te
great thought and
preocupes.
it's like, oh man,
Nena, a mí me
but
pasa all the time, literally all the time, because I love going on tangents and ramifications. My brain thinks, like my neurons fire faster than like my mouth and my brain, like everything goes faster than I can keep up with. So I
yeah.
100% understand.
No,
But
yeah, okay. With the hiring and all that, you also have to like, if you're like scared of that, you gotta see like, or not scared, but like you don't want to delegate, you gotta figure out like, going back to like la ley del espejo, or like the law of
mhm,
the mirrors. Why does that? Why don't I want to delegate? I know like going into the root of that, but also knowing that if you have a great system and you're able to teach it to somebody, then you should be okay. Especially,
yeah,
and oh, obviously I hire, like, do your background checks and hire people where you feel connected to, because you feel like, maybe this is not a person, then obviously, and if you hire them, and it might not go as well as you want. So yeah, definitely be aware of all of that, and like do the inner search of, why don't I want to delegate my work?
yes. Again, going back to having a good self-concept and self-worth. That
Yeah.
is very important when you're going into starting a business.
Yeah. Okay. I'm at the library, for those who don't know. So I like book a room too. So I only got like 2 hours and the
Oh,
time is
no
good.
worries.
And
Thank
the
you
time
so.
is
This
coming
was
up.
so fun. Honestly, I
It
could talk
was.
about this for hours, and I am definitely going to be updating you on this. If like any advice that any lessons that I learn, I always share them with
Mm,
everyone because that is how we grow and that is how
yeah.
we there and support each other. So I love talking about money mindset, and I just learned I hadn't heard about the La Ley del Espejo, so I've
Yeah.
learned a lot as well.
No, I want to thank you. I'll definitely leave your links below with everything that you have. You go like send it to me and I'll put in the links below. Again, thank you. I had an amazing conversation. I learned a lot. So anybody that doesn't know Laura, go check her out. Again, links in the description. And for those who are watching or for those who are listening, don't forget to give us a review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all of that. And then I'm also gonna have this on YouTube. So don't forget to comment, like, share, all of that, subscribe. And Laura, again, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for inviting me, Andrea. It was a pleasure to talk to you and meet you. I look
um,
forward to seeing your journey and your business grow as well.
and you're always, I don't know if I said that, but you're welcome back to update us on your journey too.
Oh, I love that. Thank you.
Okay.
You're so sweet. Have a
Thank
great
you,
rest of
everybody.
your
Bye
day.
bye.